Hello, welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Zondi with your technology and social media news. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, Twitter poll is asking you whether you think social media influencers should get involved in conflicts that are going on in the world. This as we're getting information that TikTok influencers are being utilized in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up in this particular program. As e-hailing services have gone on strike, we also look at the issue of safety that some South Africans complain about when they catch rides in these vehicles. While Huawei no longer comes with Google mobile services, we check out the sub 30,000 Rand Huawei device that's just been released. There's also a sub 20,000 Rand device. And in our conversation, we revisit that issue of spectrum that we've spoken about before. This as the auction of spectrum was finalized about a week ago. Operators of e-hailing services have been on strike in the last couple of days. Their grievances are that the industry is not regulated, but their customers have also had grievances of their own. Many say they feel unsafe when they catch rides.
Thousands of people use ride-share apps such as Uber and Bolt to reach their destinations at the tap of a finger. And many young passengers, their convenient services are second nature. But the simple and seemingly safe mode of transportation has become a cause for concern for many.
I, as a female driver, have been molested by a rider. I reported it to Bolt, and all they just said is that we apologize for the inconvenience. We'll make sure that you'll never get a rider, that specific rider. However, there are so many other female drivers out there that face the very same risk.
Women riders like Stilindoku Mkondwane have reported being hit on, contacted by the driver after their ride had concluded and generally feeling uncomfortable.
It was around about 4 a.m. and it was raining. And now we request, we have to come here. He comes, takes us, he's opening windows, like all the windows were open. So we ask him so politely, Poti, can you please just close the windows? No, it's very hot in here. Hi, Bo. Can you please just close the windows? We are coming here. It's not even 5 minutes. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna drop you here. You will walk to wherever you're going. Just because he didn't want to close the window. So, he didn't think about our safety.
She no longer feels safe getting into an Uber or a Bolt ride.
In as much as I need to use it because there are times where I'm traveling at night, I'm scared because I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he might take me from work and then just drop me anywhere that he wants to.
In response to concerns about safety, Bolt says they are taking steps to ensure that every ride is a safe one, particularly for women and vulnerable people.
Other safety interventions include Bolt Women Only, because passengers have more information about their driver than they would with any other mode of transport. In addition, there is the Share My ETA function that lets passengers share their trip details and progress with any trusted individual.
After reports about sexual assault incidents, Bolt announced increased safety measures, including a partnership with Namula, a company that sends a rider's location and relevant information to police when the rider uses the emergency button in the Bolt app.
There is also the in-app SOS button that alerts Namola to send a private emergency response if there is an incident. Bolt places the highest priority on passenger and driver safety within South Africa's crime-torn context.
With the new feature, Selindokuhle feels slightly safer knowing that GPS tracking is happening for every trip in the event of something going wrong.
When the driver is here, that's when I get to share the location. So I can share it to more than 10 friends. That's what I do normally. Then I know that I'm now.
With these issues at hand, it is clear that Bolt leadership has a lot on its plate, as it is expected to repair its relationship with drivers who took to the street earlier this week complaining about what they call unjust working conditions.
Many drivers sit without vehicles and they've got a profile sitting not working. Then they begin to rent those profiles out and there's no control as to who those profiles are being rented out to. And then this is where criminality comes into industry.
E-hailing apps have run into legal squabbles around the world, with some countries banning it and others complaining about anti-competitive behavior.
In the past, you'd have to go to libraries and scroll through books to find out about the important work that our court system does. But it has now launched a chatbot that will be communicating with children.
We created this really exciting group of resources called My Constitution for teachers in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we created them as PDFs that could be printed and shared, and we've created booklets that we can distribute in hard copy. But we know that not every teacher around the country can access those resources immediately. So we thought to ourselves, let's get creative with technology. And we partnered and created a WhatsApp chatbot so that everybody who uses WhatsApp can engage automatically and quickly with this WhatsApp chatbot and immediately get sent these resources to their phones. We know that people working in many different kinds of settings, whether it's the inner city of Johannesburg, rural Eastern Cape, a small town in Limpopo, not everyone has access to the internet's capabilities or the ability to print hard copy materials. So we know that for those phone users who have WhatsApp, they can engage immediately at any time of day, 24 hours a day, with this chatbot and ask for the materials they need, and that will be immediately sent to their phone without ever having to leave the WhatsApp platform. So if you don't even have data but have a data bundle with WhatsApp, you have access to these materials immediately for free. The Constitution of South Africa is a globally acclaimed document that people around the world turn to when they look for issues around children's rights and democracy. But we know that the reality on the ground is that children's rights are routinely violated. So we need to think about ways to make this Constitution come alive for a new generation using new tools and new technology. That's why we're so excited about the chatbot, is because we know that so many users around South Africa use WhatsApp on their phones on a regular basis. And here's a chance for us to use that same technology to make the Constitution and how to teach the Constitution to children available for free in a moment's notice, no matter wherever you are. So you can go into WhatsApp and find that contact in your WhatsApp and send the word play or hi to that number. And immediately you'll get sent back an interface, menu items that you can choose from to find out more. And navigating through that interface, you can select what kind of resources you want sent to your phone, and immediately, within a few seconds, you can have these resources in your phone. The reason why we did this to target teachers in particular is because we know teachers have CAPS-related curriculum mandates. We align these curriculum resources to be very perfectly aligned with CAPS, and it gives teachers a step-by-step and easy-to-adapt set of resources and lesson plans and learning materials that they can use today to teach children about their rights, about the Constitution, about how to participate in a democracy in a meaningful way, and doing so with play.
Huawei is launching their latest P-series devices as a fashion items. It's a sleek design on the pocket, and it's quite light and it fits into your pocket too. In 2021, much of Huawei's focus in South Africa was on launching several Nova devices that are in the sub-10,000 Rand region. There was also a focus on smartwatches and partnerships, like one with SuperSport United and sneaker brand Batu. We'd heard that they'd launched their high-end devices, the P50 Pocket and its sibling, the P50 Pro in China. But it wasn't until now that South Africa would get to experience these beauties. On the Pocket, they'd worked with a renowned international fashion designer, and therefore it should not have been a surprise that Miss South Africa and Miss Universe second runner-up Lalela Mswane was on hand at the launch party.
Stunning. The design alone is so innovative, it's so artistic, and fun fact, they did a collaboration, or Huawei rather, did a collaboration with the world-renowned designer Iris van Herpen, and they created this absolute gem.
Apart from being fashion items, both phones are tiny and light. Huawei has always focused on incredible quality cameras for their high-end devices. They continue that here. At just under a whopping 30,000 Rand, the P50 Pocket camera system includes a 40-megapixel true chroma camera, a 13-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera, a 32-megapixel ultra-spectrum camera, a 10-channel multispectrum sensor, and an ultra-spectrum illuminator.
When you pick up a mobile phone, I think in today's day and age, we can talk about all the hardware and how many megapixels and how all these lenses work. That's great. And you can also talk about the software software smarts that they have, but how they come together to make a common person into a professional photographer. I think that's what we're working with, and that's what the P50 series does. So you'll be able to just pick up your phone, point and shoot, and get professional quality photographs, and I think we've achieved that with this range.
Below the camera unit, you will see a small round display screen when the phone is folded. When it's open, it has a 6.9-inch display screen. You might remember that the initial foldable phones that we got as the world used to crack. Huawei says that won't happen here. The P50 Pro is cheaper at just under 20,000 Rand and has a 6.6-inch display screen. You remember that Huawei no longer comes with Google support and therefore does not have the Android operating system that the majority of the world is familiar with. But those in the know say it should no longer be as big of a problem as it was in the past.
It's been about 2 years now that some of Huawei's devices have been without Google services, and there's ways to work around that and to enjoy the devices without Google services. So I don't think it's much of a point right now. Look, enjoy the devices for what they are. Your favorite apps are there, no problems at all.
Huawei says their Harmony operating system takes care of some of the apps they think their users want.
We have taken care of the top applications for South Africans, so we've done intensive research. Of course, we have a global brand, but we are the South African division, so we need to take care of South Africans first. We have researched and found out what are the top applications that every South African needs. And we've ensured that at this present moment speaking to you here, we have covered 99% of those applications. So it's no longer an issue. And the sales numbers and the fact that we are still the top 2 in this country is testament to that.
P50 Pro and P50 Pocket.
To show that they're back, Huawei had A-list South African celebrities at the event. They too seem impressed by what they've only had a short time to play around with.
I took a lot of selfies and the selfies are great, guys. The lighting is amazing. I can't with the design outside. It looks like I'm holding like something that can't stay in my bag. I don't know why they call it a pocket because like it's too pretty to be in my pocket.
Amazing. Really enjoy taking pictures with it. I think it's very super efficient and I can't wait to explore it further.
When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sound, find a beautiful.
Huawei has not had an easy 2 years, especially with the American ban, but they've managed to remain as one of the devices that South Africans are choosing. This is despite the lack of Google mobile services. Last year, Statista said Huawei's market share is at number 2 in South Africa. Samsung is at number 1. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat Spectrum. It It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, 14.4 billion rand was raised in the recent spectrum auction. Now, some of those that benefited in the new spectrum that was auctioned out are Cell C, Vodacom, MTN, Rain, and Liquid. This has been a long time coming. To talk to us a bit more about this is Yaron Asabi, who is the CEO and founder of MVNE. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Yaron. Why has it been important to auction out the spectrum?
It's really critical from the future direction of where the economy is going. From a socioeconomic perspective, as we move towards more of a connected economy, there's more spectrum required, more bandwidth required. So all the operators bid in order to get additional capacity. For example, MTN had 76 megahertz and managed to increase to 176. Obviously, that will enable them to grow more services on their network. And as you know, Cell C primarily roams on MTN's network as an example. So as we launch more virtual operators and more niche telco products, mobile virtual network operators like DSTV Internet that recently launched, or F&B Connect, those require and demand more and more bandwidth, and the operators now have more capacity. It was also important for government to raise capital, which was sorely needed after the pandemic and all the additional expenditure. And I believe that government expected something like 8 billion, but actually managed to raise 14.4 billion, which is excellent. So hopefully that money will be utilized to drive more public service and to help resuscitate the economy.
I hear you, Yaron, but in South Africa, we often talk about the big digital divide. So does this spectrum that's been issued out benefit rural folks at all?
I think that as we get more and more connected, everybody is going to access the internet, and having more capacity to be able to do, for example, mobile health services, that would impact somebody in the rural area, because Africa's nature is one where, there's such a huge geography to cover. So if you could provide telehealth services or video-based, services that rely on the internet, for health, for education, even people in rural areas will see a huge impact. And I think the economy will be much stronger, and the ability to offer better service delivery from government and from private enterprise using connectivity and using the formidable power of the internet is really, really important. And as we innovate and move towards more digitally enabled and an economy that's very, very connected across the board, even with agriculture, for example, mobile agriculture is very, very big. The ability to be able to automate certain things on farms and be smarter in the way we actually farming is something that's very, very important for Africa. And even that's going to be digitally enabled. So I think having additional spectrum is very important. As my friend Charles Molapisi said online, he posted 6 days ago when they got the extra capacity, says today changes everything, so I think this is great. I think it's really awesome. I think it's been a long awaited time for the operators to get the additional spectrum, and they've been fighting it for quite a long time. So I think it's a win-win. It's a win for government, it's a win for the operators. We're certainly going to see more competition and more virtual network operators now emerging in the next few years, and I think it will be good to be able to have the capacity without having to issue additional licenses to be able to launch more and more virtual network operators in South Africa. I also think that the regulatory environment is making some good progress, and as this whole MVNO space gets more and more regulated, we're going to see more competition, more innovation, more services being delivered to consumers, and the consumers are only going to win because the price is going to drop, and data will become more affordable. I think in Africa, data is like oxygen. So, getting more data would be really, really important for the average consumer.
Yaron, you speak of virtual operators. Who are they, and how do they benefit from all of this?
I think that the spectrum that was issued now is already a huge game changer. and will already enhance the 4G and 5G services that the network operators are rolling. You may have seen that in some areas in Johannesburg or in Cape Town, you're already getting 5G on your phone. The signal changes from 4G to 5G, which means it's faster internet up to a gigahertz per second to your phone when it's not contended. So I think it's really awesome that the spectrum has already been issued. And as you rightfully mentioned, as we move from analog to digital TV, more spectrum will become available, and the reutilization of the spectrum will be very, very important for critical services that could utilize the internet rather than that spectrum sitting there not being utilized.
All right, Yaron Azabi, CEO and founder of MVNE, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Let's take a short break. All right, you can write to us. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
Indonesian fried chicken seller Firmansyah and his wife Tri Maimuna spend most of their day working to put food on the table and have little time to spend with their 4 young children. But now, thanks to a newly launched mobile app that aims to help develop cognitive and emotional skills for kids aged between 0 to 5, the couple are receiving guidance on how to make of the scant time they have to play with their children educational.
Orang tua ini sebenarnya hanya semenjak saya belum lihat itu hanya status menempel pada orang tua, tapi waktu dan bercanda ke anak itu kurang. Tapi semenjak saya lihat aplikasi itu sangat bagus ya untuk sebagai saya orang tua. Ternyata dari hal yang dari kecil ciluk baja itu bisa berubah dunia untuk 5 tahun dari anak 0 sampai 5 tahun itu, Pak.
But in a country where internet access is not widely available, accessing it might be problematic for some families, Firmansyah said, urging that the application be made accessible offline as well. And now in the UK. Artificial intelligence is becoming more commonplace in many aspects of modern life, including the performing arts. A jazz band in the UK recently took to the stage with an algorithm creating and performing improvised solos.
It's going to be a jazz algorithm, which we've been calling Jazz Transformer, or JT, who'll be soloing on some tunes. And I'm really interested to hear how JT can enhance or just give a bit more to the music and see where we can take it from there.
Artificial intelligence is already busy in creative industries, writing news stories and even computer programs. But is it about to take over?
From North America to Europe and Russia, there are various reports that now suggest that TikTok influencers are being paid or utilized in order to take sides in the conflicts between Russia and Ukraine. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you think this should be happening. Now, 23% of you say yes, you think that influencers should get involved in such conflicts. There's 67% of you, that's the overwhelming majority, who are saying no, influencers should not be getting involved in such conflicts. And at 9% are those of you who say you have no view at all on this. And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. From me, it's Pumela Lezondi and the rest of the team. Have a good one. Bye-bye.